So, what really makes a virtual school work? I mean, not just as a backup plan, but as a genuinely powerful and engaging place for kids to learn. Today, we're going to dive into an instructional model that's designed to be exactly that, a totally different way of thinking about virtual learning. Let's just start with the question that's probably on every parent's mind, right? When you hear online school, do you just picture your kid parked in front of a computer all day, passively clicking through lessons all by themselves? It's a huge concern, and for a lot of programs out there, it's pretty accurate. But the answer can be a definite no. That is, if the school is built on a totally different foundation. See, this isn't about trying to cram a traditional school onto the internet. It's about completely rethinking what education can be in a virtual world. To really get how that works, we have to start with the core philosophy. This goes way beyond just the technology or the webcams. It's about the fundamental approach to teaching that shapes every single class, every single day. Okay, so at the very heart of this is something called the balanced instructional model. And what's so key here is that it's a blend of two things that are absolutely crucial. You get the structure of live classes with a real teacher, but you also get the flexibility of learning that actually adapts to each student's own pace and their own needs. And this quote just nails the ultimate goal. The whole focus shifts away from just, getting the work done to something so much deeper. We're talking about active learning, real-world application, and growing with a real sense of purpose. That's the promise that drives the entire program. So that's the big idea. But how do you actually make that happen for students every day? Well, they use a very clear blueprint for learning, and it's called the 5A framework. And here they are, the 5 pillars that hold up the entire structure. You can think of these as the essential ingredients for building a virtual school that's actually engaging and effective. Active, adaptive, small group, authentic, and accountable learning. So let's break down what each one of these really means. All right, so let's get practical. How does this framework actually translate into what a student does all day? Because this isn't just theory, right? This is the playbook for how learning actually happens. First up, active learning. On the left, you see the thing we all worry about with online school, that isolated, passive work. But on the right, that's the reality in this model. We're talking about daily, live classes with licensed teachers. It's all about discussion, working with other students, and getting that immediate feedback that's so important for learning. Next is adaptive instruction. This is where that flexibility really starts to shine. So after those live classes, students do work on their own, but, and this is a big but, they are not alone. Teachers are using data from that work to figure out exactly what to do next, so every single student gets the right amount of support and the right amount of challenge. And that personalization gets even more dialed in with small group instruction. This is how teachers can give that incredibly targeted support. So whether a student needs a concept taught again, or they need an extra challenge to go deeper, or they're ready to be accelerated to the next level, small groups make all of that possible. Now for authentic learning. This is where school stops being just about textbooks. Students get to tackle real-world problems through project-based learning. They're doing their own research, they're collaborating with their peers, and they're building skills like critical thinking that are just essential for life, period. And finally, accountable learning. This totally redefines what success even looks like. Instead of just focusing on passing a test, the whole emphasis is on genuine mastery and growth over time. Students build digital portfolios that actually show how their skills have developed, which paints a much richer, more meaningful picture of what they've learned. Okay, so we have the 5A framework, and that's our blueprint. But what is it that supercharges the whole thing? The answer is an integrated approach called STEAM, and it's woven through everything students do. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. But it is so much more than just a list of subjects. It's a way of using these fields as jumping-off points to guide a student's curiosity, their dialogue, and their critical thinking. And this right here is why it is so powerful. STEAM is all about blending the left brain and the right brain. By mixing analytical thought with creative design, students become these incredibly versatile and innovative problem solvers, which is exactly what the world needs, right? And this isn't just some extra thing they do on Fridays. Check out how it's integrated. In science, students are using virtual simulations and hands-on lab kits that get sent right to their homes. In social studies, they're doing these deep inquiry projects. And art isn't just a separate class. It's a way for them to express what they're learning across all their subjects. It just makes learning so much more dynamic and relevant.
So we have the blueprint with the 5A framework, and we have STEAM to supercharge it. But you know what? None of that means anything if it isn't accessible. And that's why the true foundation of this entire model is a deep commitment to reaching every single student.
This whole model is built on an idea called universal design for learning. And put simply, all that means is it's designed from the ground up to be flexible. It gives students multiple ways to engage with the material and to show what they know, and all of it is backed by really strong teacher support. The goal is simple: give everyone an equitable opportunity to succeed.
And let's be crystal clear on one final and maybe most crucial point. While all the technology makes this possible, it's the teachers who make it powerful. They are the guides, the mentors, and the relationship builders. They are absolutely central to a student's growth and success. So, after seeing this whole blueprint for virtual learning that is active, that's personalized, that's authentic, it leaves you with a really important question to think about. With a structure designed not just for learning, but for growth with purpose, what could your child truly achieve?